Don't laugh, but my next recipe is inspired with some religion in a non-veg sort of way. Don't panic, only the inspiration is non-veg, not the recipe itself. The recipe is absolutely vegetarian. The reason is during a Hindu festival of dancing, come 1-2 o'clock in the morning, everyone was hungry, ravenous, and so they wanted kebabs. So the vegetarian options were chips, which I love, or halloumi burgers. But I didn't fancy any of them. I just wanted something with a bit of a kick. So you can see where this is going. Halloumi, fancied a curry with a kick. I've got some black beans over there. So here we are. We've got black bean and halloumi curry. It's unusual, a little bit out there, but I promise you it really does work. And the reason is, when halloumi is in a curry, it just soaks up all the juices, it soaks up all the flavours and spices, and then it just kind of releases them really generously with each mouthful. And the reason I'm chopping up these onions, we're going to fry them and then we're going to blitz them and add them to the gravy so it gives it that sweetness. So we've got the sweetness from the onions, we've got the spiciness and the heat from the curry, and we've got black beans for the depth and the nuttiness, and we've got salty halloumi, and it's all just going to be gorgeous together. I mean, look at that, that's really moist. What you want to avoid is the chewy dry stuff. That's not good for your curry, but this stuff is really juicy. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut it into bite-sized chunks. So imagine how you'd like it on your spoon or a fork for your curry. And ready, so we're just going to pop that into the curry when it simmers, stick it into those juices, and it's just going to soak it up. I really like the smell of frying onions. It reminds me of fun fairs as kids. So they're pretty much done now, and what we want to achieve is a really nice golden brown sort of colour, because when they go like that, when they're quite crisp and browned like that, they're going to be really sweet in that curry gravy. They're going to taste lovely. So we're going to let them cool, put them to a side. So I'm just going to top it off with a little bit more oil. A teaspoon of cumin seeds, a couple of cloves, and a little bit of turmeric and some curry leaves. So these are so aromatic. The fresh ones, the better. I'm just going to pop in 3 or 4. In that goes. And then in with the ginger and the garlic. Once you've sautéed, add in half a can of tomatoes. Can's fine, I use cans. And then it starts to really come together. You could have separate coriander and separate cumin powder. That's absolutely fine. Just use 1 teaspoon of each. A little bit of chilli, salt to taste. I'm going to chuck in about a teaspoon. Look at that. That's a nice, vibrant looking curry base there. What we're going to do is we're going to put in those black beans. Now they're already cooked, so they won't need much cooking time. So we're going to coat that really nicely with all those spices and the tomatoes. And then we're just going to add the water, pour it in, and then we bring it to a simmer. While that's simmering, actually, what we can do is blitz those red onions before we add them in. Stick this into my noisy grinder. Smells good. What a colour on that, eh? Stick that in. It's simmering now, all coming to a bubble. Great time to add in that halloumi. Listen to that rumble. So now you can see it wasn't too much water. It looks perfectly balanced now. And the last thing I'm going to add is a bit of garam masala. Now I'm adding it at the end because it will taste peppery. It gives a really different flavour to adding it when you've tempered the rest of the spices, about half a teaspoon. And that's it, that really is it. All we've got to do now is let it do its work, about 8 minutes. I'm looking forward to getting into this. This is my black bean and halloumi curry. Unusual, but you can see why I love it. Can't wait to dig in. Look at that, it's just gorgeous and juicy, isn't it? Oh, almost falls apart. Definitely hits the spot. Better than a kebab, better than a burger, better than your average curry. It's really balanced. Spicy, salty from the cheese, juicy, and sweet. Perfect.